We're ready, sir.
Okay. Notice is hereby given that a town hall and a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas will be held on Thursday, April 25th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. at City Hall, 22870 Priest Road, Sandy Oaks, Texas, where a quorum of the City Council will be present. All agenda items are subject to action. You can join the meeting via the Zoom link in the agenda. The public will be permitted to offer public comments as provided by the agenda and as permitted by the presiding officer during the meeting by signing up with the city secretary in person at least 15 minutes in advance of the meeting, or by emailing or calling the city secretary at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting. Written comments received at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting will be provided to the city council for consideration. Please indicate whether you intend to speak during the town hall portion of the meeting regarding the designated topic or during the citizens to be heard. The time is now 6:31. We are in session.
Mayor, can we go ahead and have you call in? You're coming through the speakers, but not loud enough. I'll need to get some external speakers.
Sure. What is whose number should I call?
People. No.
Who should we call? Whose number?
You want to host it? Sure, call it.
I'm calling Terry.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mhm.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, can you hear us all right?
I can hear.
Everybody hearing? Much better, sir. Thank you.
Let me adjust my numbers. Okay, can you still hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You want me to repeat anything?
I can't hear.
I don't think so.
Can you turn the volume up on that?
So we're good, then let's go ahead and move forward. As I indicated earlier, it was 6:31 at the time. We now are in session. It is now 6:32. So Madam Secretary, may I get a call to order?
Sure, Mayor.
Phone call?
Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado,
Here.
Alderman Fillinger,
Here.
Alderman Coffendaffer,
Here.
Alderman Rapino,
Here.
Alderman Tremblay.
Here.
Sir, we also have the city attorney, Ms. Cassandra. And you have the city secretary, so you have a quorum.
I just want to go on record, I am on Zoom, but my video is on. Still, just want to make sure.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right, everyone, can you please stand for the pledge of allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, I'm going to do the,
I'm in Texas. Pledge allegiance
I pledge allegiance to the
to Texas.
one state under God, one indivisible.
One
Indivisible.
Still working.
Right along to the citizens who heard. Persons wishing to speak may sign up with the city secretary at the time and manner as indicated above. Madam Secretary, do we have anybody signed up to speak?
We do have, I have passed it on to Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado and.
We have 4 people signed, 3 people just signed up. You want to call a person?
Yeah, are they wanting to speak regarding the town hall or just in general?
There's 2 for citizens to be heard in 1 town hall.
Okay, so then let's do the citizens to be heard.
Okay, Catherine Yelton.
Mayor, council, Madam Attorney, again, please consider and fix ordinance. Thank you.
Did you hear her, Mayor? No.
No.
Yeah, an ethics ordinance.
Uh-huh, okay.
Okay.
And second is Priscilla Schmidt. You passed it? You passed. And so the town hall, we're gonna do later, right? Or now?
Yeah, we'll move on to the agenda item 4, and we'll jump into the top.
Okay.
All right, so we can go ahead and move along to number 4, mayor and administrator announcements. This time, I really don't have any announcements. However, the only thing that I did find out recently is that the parking lot will be striped, I believe, tomorrow.
Mhm.
So just be cautious if you have to come to the city hall. There may be some issues getting in and out, so just be cautious and we'll do our best to kind of make it as simple as possible to move in and out this week. The only other item is that we are moving towards our 10-year anniversary. I have not heard back from our county commissioner on when we will have the proclamation, but I did send them my notes. And hopefully it serves the city well, makes you proud when they read that. But it is open to the public. It's not a private meeting. It's not just for council. It's not for just employees. It is for the public. So once I have that, I will push that out to everybody. And we hope to fill the room. I think everybody that's lived here from the beginning till now should be proud of this accomplishment and should be in there in support of the city. I believe that's all the announcements that I have today. So we'll move on to the town hall so number 5, town hall to allow for public comment and questions on raising the tax during adoption of the next fiscal year's budget and adoption of tax rate. Adopting tax rate that would exceed the voter approval rate would require approval at an election called by the city council. The city council will not adopt the tax rate during this town hall or regular meeting, but will consider citizen comment and discussion made during the town hall at the time of the budget and tax rate adoption process for the 24-25 fiscal year. The time is now 6:37, and I believe we can go into session for the town hall. Do we have anybody that wants to speak towards the town hall?
And Mr. Ken Carden.
Sure.
My name's Ken Carden. How you doing, Mayor, Council? I'm not a fan of raising taxes. And the reason why I say that is the last meeting I listened to, one of the aldermen probably had one of the best suggestions that I've heard from the council since the inception of the city. I think strategic planning for infrastructure should be a requirement by the council. I think each department should develop a 5 to 10 year plan and then budget it quarterly or monthly to curtail costs. You know, things that concern me was, and I'll only reference one because there's been several, and I've spoken with several aldermen about it, was this very building we were standing in was bought from DRMO. It wasn't inspected before it's put into place. It wasn't inspected after in place. Had a major storm, found out we had problems, filed an insurance claim. The taxpayers ate it because there was no infrastructure inspection. I think it is very important that you develop a strategic plan. Just saying we need a shed in the park and then another 2 meetings later, we need to skirt it. Why didn't you plan for it both at the same time? I get accused of being very critical, but when you spending people's money, their hard-earned tax money, you should be just as cognizant and critical of what you're spending as the people who say they don't like what you're doing. Now, I've been told that I'm very critical. I won't say the alderman that did it, but I am very critical because I understand the city has to progress. But I also understand that we have infrastructures and roads that are eroding on the side. I mean, very badly eroding. Drive down Stevens. Drive down it. Drive down the other ones. Now, I understand you wanted to pay for a parking lot. I understand that. I understand you want to trim trees. But I think enough money's been spent on City Hall, and I think enough money's been spent on the park. And I think the infrastructure that is the most important thing for this city right now is the roads. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's our current tax rate, Mr. Mayor?
Say it again.
What's our current tax rate?
The operating and maintenance fund is a little over 21 cents per hundred dollars of value, less than 22 cents in the
Times.
make the bond is less than 4 cents. So it's more than 25 cents, it's less than 26 cents per hundred.
What is it we're going to move the taxes to if we're gonna do a tax increase?
Well, it's open to discussion, and I believe we discussed that we need to look at the future needs and budgets before we can settle on them. I don't have a crystal ball. If we don't prioritize needs, we can't develop a working budget, we can't develop a working tax rate.
Mr. Mayor, have you prioritized any of the needs that you've seen recently that you know we're gonna be coming up on this year?
I'm not sure I understand your question, but I know the primarily interest, my primary interest is for roads. The expansion of the police, or at least to keep them, properly paved. And, some park improvements.
Does anybody have any questions in this conversation? Yes, sir.
Yes, I'd like to see us
Please
get a,
introduce yourself, sir.
John Crick Marshall.
Thank
I'd
you.
like to see us get a, city administrator, raise the taxes. That would solve some of the problems as far as planning goes. I'd like to see us raise the taxes so we could, recruit and maintain a police force adequately here. The road maintenance, of course. And, do something with the, increase our problem with dogs, increase the kennel situation. Those are things that we need to raise taxes for, in my opinion. We have more people here now than 10 years ago. More people demanding more city services. The city administration itself has probably tripled since the inception. And you get what you pay for, and you need to start. You know, we have a lot of complaints about this, that, and the other, mostly dogs. And you're not gonna solve the problem unless you pony up the money. We do need to plan, I agree with that. But raising taxes, I think, will go a long way. Thank you.
What we need to realize is that first, that we won't set a tax rate until we get the tax roll on what the tax assessors and what we expect to be coming in. So we can talk about tax rate all day long, but we're not gonna decide or give you an idea of what it would be. But what I think all we're looking at, or I think what we're realizing is that, yes, we're going to need to do something. We need an administrator, we need to do roads, all these things need to be done. We've had a lot of new housing go up in the city, so that's going to increase what the income is for the city as far as property tax. So, sure, everybody knows, until we get the tax rolls, and we can prioritize our budget based on that and what we can meet. Because it's not about carrying over funds either. It needs to be a zero budget. What we take in, we need to spend. And so realizing that, I think we need to wait on the tax roll.
I understand the tax roll, but
I'd like to address the tax roll, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tim.
I understand the tax roll, and I understand how we're bring it up to the level. My biggest concern is we still need a strategic plan. Now, I know all y'all volunteers, and most of them work, not everybody's retired. A city administrator would be the key, because one, they know how to do that. Hire somebody who knows how to do that. He knows how to have contractors come in and have them present to you phases of anything that you want to do. Just saying we want to do this without a plan or a strategic plan that is agreed upon by all is not gonna work. Yes, you gotta maintain a zero balance, but to have a 5 to 10 year plan is the way to go. I spent 42 years in the Army. I was an operations sergeant at the Center Brigade at Fort Sam Houston for the last 10 years of it. We did things 5, 10, 15 years out. And we budgeted for it, and we stayed within the budget. I think you guys can do the same thing. But you all gotta be on the same page about an administrator. Let's don't have him for 3 or 4 months and then say, well, we don't like what he did. And get rid of it. We've seen that. We've done that in the past. Hire somebody who is very reputable. Yeah, you're gonna have to pay them. You're gonna have to pay them 6 digits. There's no doubt that's gonna have to happen. That's the only way it's gonna happen. And yes, you're gonna have to pay them to show you or come show you all the roads and stuff. This is something that interdepartments for the city can't do anymore. You have to have somebody overseeing it. And you have to give the city administrator the power to hire, fire, and tell people what to do. You can't leave that all on the council because it doesn't work like that. It just doesn't. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
The last city administrator left for a better paying job. Our police officers are leaving apparently for better paying jobs. Taxes need to go up as much as possible without having an election over it.
Well, I believe my counterpart here said it. We're not looking at raising taxes today,
No,
but
I
we do need the
understand.
input of the community today.
I'm
Because
for
later
it.
on this year,
I'm
when this
for it.
does, later on this year, when this budget is addressed, once the tax rolls come out, we see what the money's on. We have to make those decisions. But we don't want to walk into this blindly without hearing from our community. Yes, sir. anybody?
My name is Greg Schmidt. I don't have a problem with raising taxes. But I would like to see something come from my raising my taxes, something I'm paying for.
That's right.
Understand?
You know, I ain't got a problem in the world with it. Our police department is a joke.
Yeah, really.
Our park, yes, they try to maintain it the best they can. Our roads are going to crap. You know, we spent a bunch of money over here on Mathis Road, which I know is a bond.
Mhm.
You know, we spent a bunch of money over there. What about the rest of the roads in the city? Nothing. Where is our money going?
That's where that planning must come in.
But where is our money going now?
169,000 plus you spent on a parking lot here. You could have made one road so it's safer with that than paving it. The money that you spent on trimming trees here, you could have spent on a road. That's why I am so adamant about strategic planning.
I
I
understand.
understand the park is a thing, but if you're gonna do anything in a park, you have 6 generations of people living out here. 6 generations age group. You must attract all 6 generations, not just what people want. Okay, we put a refrigerator in there. We did all this there. We say it's out for rent. How much of that money have we spent, have we recouped from renting it out? I'd like to know that. I bet you it's not very much. I bet you it's not.
We have a very low tax rate compared to other comparable cities. That's my point. And, we have no commercial tax base. So we're all a bunch of mobile home, prefabricated homeowners on half an acre. And, taxes gotta go up. I mean, you want all these things.
But you gotta understand, man, a lot of people out here can't afford taxes to go up. A lot of people out here can't.
You got
But it's still got to
It's
be done.
a bargain now. They don't appreciate how low taxes are.
I want to see where the money goes.
I want to see where it's spent. I mean, I get tired of seeing everything on the agenda. Let's spend this, let's spend that.
That's been our.
But that's,
That's
but
not.
Gentlemen,
is the way to go.
Gentlemen, we can only speak one at a time, but
All right.
I would
I
like. to-
apologize.
Alderman Fillinger has the floor.
Okay, I would like to address tax rolls. Okay? Because I think I'm the only one sitting present who has actually gone through the budgeting process. We start getting tax rolls, at any point in time now. But they update every week until after the budget is passed. So, again, there's a certain amount of crystal ball involved in what's the income gonna be. And we can look at historical numbers. But, saying, well, when the tax roll comes in, the tax roll rolls in over a period of months. We have an initial tax roll with a lot of protests. And as the protests are settled, the tax roll changes, sometimes immensely in one week's time. So we do have new property, but the valuation of that property may be under protest. So we won't see that until the protest is settled. Historically, we can guess based on what's happened before, but, just having a tax roll is not going to be able to give us a solid budget number. We do need to prioritize. We do need a city administrator. We do need to maintain competitive rates for employees, otherwise we lose it. We do need a 7 to 10 year road plan. Okay, but we have to have money to implement any of those things. Mr. Carden said as city administrator, we're looking at 6 figures. And that's absolutely true. When I was trying to research city administrator, an assistant city administrator in a town of 25,000 people, the job has been posted at $65,000 a year for the last 6 months.
You won't get anybody that.
Yeah, that was an assistant administrator. Senior city administrator, the last time I checked at ZipRecruiter, there was like 150 openings in the state of Texas. And almost all of them offering over $100,000. So, when we look at the budget, we need to recognize, yes, we control the purse strings, but we don't control the purse strings throughout the country. Okay, we have to be competitive, and we need much more assistance to develop the city. And I would like to make one more statement. Okay. You may not agree with it, may not understand it, but we pay the same property tax rates as everybody else in the city. I mean, we drive the same streets as everybody else in the city. The street in front of my house needs repair, has needed repair for 8 years. I don't report it because I don't want anyone to, well, he got.
You're always gonna have that.
Well, I'm a yes, sir, thank you.
You're always gonna have that.
Okay, all right, I've had my say, but we need to, nobody up here says I'm perfect. But we have needs, and we cannot accomplish those needs at the present tax rate.
Sure.
And we do have somebody on the phone or online that wants to speak. Mr. Mitchell, you want to unmute yourself?
Hi, how you doing? Can I speak?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. I lived here 20 years ago, before I joined the military. And I briefly lived here when it was Waterwood, back in 98, 2000. And I came back here when I retired, and it looks the same. It's the same exact thing. It's just a lot more people, but it's the same exact thing. Nothing has changed. And apparently the city has been a city for like 10 years. One of the biggest things when I got back that I only saw different was the sign in the front of the neighborhood. It said Sandy Oaks instead of Waterwood. Like, I understand that people want things and people have to raise taxes, things cost money. I've heard the mayor say before, neighborhood app, that people don't understand that paying for, they want things and they don't understand that they have to pay more taxes. I think a lot of people already do understand that. I think the misconception comes that from them wanting to know what's happening with the existing taxes. They don't see anything happening. We see police officer, okay, you say police department. I mean, the example that I just told you about the sign, you wouldn't even know you're in Sandy Oaks unless you got pulled over. You wouldn't know you're in Sandy Oaks. Somebody could just fly right by here. They wouldn't know. What would it take $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 to just allocate to a sign, to take some pride in our city and say, hey, you know what? We're a community. We don't even do that, but we'll pay somebody $50,000 to drive around and cite people for going 2 miles over the speed limit. I mean, like, what are we doing here? And my other biggest concern is, like, a lot of times, like with the animal control and some of the other situations, some of the things that are said by the councilmen are, we're just not that city kind of city, or we don't have that budget, or we don't have the resources, or we need to raise taxes. Well, if we don't have that, what are we doing trying to be a city? We don't have the budget, we don't have the money. What are we doing trying to be something that we're not? Another thing is, does the city councilman, I understand that they don't get paid and they do it voluntarily, and you know, it's they're retired. They should be getting paid. They should be getting compensated. It is highly unethical that they're not getting compensated. It is reckless politically, for one, a liability legally, because I mean, if you're not an employee, how do we keep you, accountable for any of actions or inactions? One of the other things is that you don't get paid. It's like hiring a contractor to start doing a job and they don't get paid. And then halfway through the job or at the end of the job, they're like, hey, now we need to get paid this. You're basically going to leverage that on the taxpayers later on. You're kicking it down the road, and it's a lot of money. And who's to say that people are going to want to pay the councilman or the mayor, pay their salaries? Like, who's to say that they're going to want to do that? I mean, this whole volunteer thing, it's going to be unsustainable. Unfortunately, like, there was a councilman that just recently passed away. Like, who's going to fill those shoes? What if somebody doesn't want to volunteer? What if somebody doesn't want to be part of the city? Some of the councilmen say, hey, step up. You need to step up if you want things to happen. You don't want somebody else to do it. But not everybody's trying to be a part of that. Not everybody's trying to do that. The other thing is that although you might look at it as virtuous because you have another job and you do this city council thing, that doesn't mean that other people in the community don't do anything for the community. Like, because you've reached your pinnacle of community service, that doesn't mean that somebody else doesn't do so. Other people do many things for their government, their state, their city. There's a lot of other jobs that they do. They can't just be going to these meetings and expected to speak on there. That's why they use other platforms.
Mr. Mitchell, excuse me 1 minute.
the town hall tonight is to address tax issues. At every meeting, you have the ability to speak in person, send a letter, or address it as you are tonight. And we will be more than glad to entertain that, but we, you know, we do have an agenda, and the discussion is based on tax rate and not the form of government that we are, you know, mandated
I
by the
understand,
state to
but
have.
that's my whole point in everything, that you're trying to form this government based on taxes. You're not doing anything to make people come here. Like you're not beautifying the city. You're not doing any changes to attract other taxpayers, to break the burden on other taxpayers, so the existing people here don't have to pay so much money, so they can get more out of their dollar. What investments are we doing to get more people to live here? What are we doing? Nothing. So you're talking about taxes. Well, let's talk about taxes. What are you doing to get more taxpayers here? Nothing. What investments are you making to do that? Nothing at all. So you want to talk about getting taxes? Well, let's talk about them. How are we going to take that burden off taxpayers that are already here? How are we going to make more taxes? What revenue do we have? I looked at the budget. We don't have anything coming in. What revenue do we have?
Property tax, franchise fees, and sales tax.
That's all we got. There's more that we could do. There's more that we could do. I don't have any notes in front of me. I don't have anything written down. This is common sense stuff. Like anybody can come up with ways to make money instead of just spending money. We're talking about taxes. We're spending taxes.
Sir,
We're spending too much taxes.
and, move on.
Just have one last question on the tax rate. What, and any one of you could answer this to me. What do you think would be a amenable tax rate to do without having to vote? Because,
Without having to vote on it, sir.
well, you're saying that it happened, you want to raise it higher than what it's supposed to be, and you would need the voters to do that. Well, historically, people don't vote very much.
We have a voter approved tax rate.
Okay.
Okay. We are no longer collecting the voter approved tax rate because the state has mandated so many rollbacks.
Okay.
Okay. As I said earlier, we're paying between 25 and 26 cents per hundred valuation after the exemption.
Okay.
2 years ago, we were paying over 29 cents per hundred. And we had the same basic
Is that
issue.
29 cents inclusive to the 4 cent for the bond? Or is that separate?
No, that was including the bond.
Okay.
But the 26 and 25 and 25 and 26 number is also included the bond issue. The operating and maintenance budget is right now at 0.21 some, 6 decimal places long,
So
but less than 22.
in your experience on the council, what if we had to raise taxes? Based on your knowledge, what percentage do you think it would have to go to on a dollar?
Well, again, you said it, and I agree. We
Well, I understand.
need an administrator. We need an administrator to help us develop a strategic plan,
You're certainly right about that.
okay?
Right.
And I've never argued that point. But, although people say the roads are going to pieces, and I can't argue, we have some road issues.
I'm scared
But-
to drive down that damn road.
but
Sorry about that.
You can't say we've done nothing because the bond money basically went on 2 streets, but they were
Well, COVID affected all that and the right, everything got inflated up. I understand. I
And
understand it.
But those two streets were much worse than Skila's there. Yeah, I.
Pretty close,
I
Steelers getting
guarantee-
close to it, but it's.
Yeah,
agree.
and I'm not gonna argue that point with you, we need to do another street survey. But,
Might I have one other last
Yes.
question? The Department of Transportation, offers grants for small cities like us, and I know that the Department of Transportation
okay,
has grants to where you can ask for money to help with the roads. Now, I know only 30% of them get approved nationwide, but what's the use of not trying? That would offset costs. I mean, if you need somebody to try to help write the grant, I'll be more than happy to volunteer my time, because I'm retired now, and I'm getting tired of my wife keeping me busy at home. You know,
Yeah, I'm
Well-
looking into, or I'm looking into a grant writer. Luckily, I've been working with a bunch of, different people recently that have, come up and told me that they are interested in being grant writers. So that's the key, right? Like, I can try, but I'm not a grant writer by any means. And I do it part-time based off of when I'm available, you know, so between this work, my son, my family, I'll try to put something
Right
together
there.
for a grant if I see it. So that's another position that we could possibly look into, or if the administrator is has experience being a grant writer. So those are positions.
even the Department of Interior offers grants to parks.
and let me. Department of Transportation generally is one thing. Most other grants that are available for local business or municipalities come through the CDGP program. And CDGP we're getting administered through Bear County because they have grant writers. They have grant administrators.
And they give you the
Yeah.
grant.
And the grant writer is one thing. The grant administrator is a whole different. If I can give you an example. We had a federal grant for drainage improvement on Skila. Basically, we had a corner that was a swamp. Okay.
I remember.
All right. And at the time I became aware of that, right after we became a city, we had Nile virus was a big thing. So from 2016 till right now has been the period I've been working on that project. We got a grant through Texas Department of Agriculture, but it was a CDTP grant, which meant we couldn't sign up with the county for another year and a half because we had that grant underway. Okay. Ms. Yeltsin, you can help me with this. How many Indian nations did we have to send a certified letter to?
At least 10.
That I'm gonna say
if
10
not
to
more.
12 Native Indian tribes that we had to check with the Cherokees up in Oklahoma, the Coushatta Indians, Indians that historically were never in this area. We had to send them certified letters asking if there were any graveyards known to them in this area. And that's every federal grant where you're going to disturb the soil. That's part of the administration. There are other, environmental impact statements. So grant writing's one thing, grant administration's another. And
I believe the mayor was speaking.
yes, sir, please. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Let's just let's just steer the ship correct, right? We do have someone, iPhone 7, that wants to speak. Sorry, they don't have a name. If you're speaking, you're on mute.
Thank you, sir. My name didn't show up. It's Mary Park. I wanted to briefly address, I am a new resident of Sandy Oaks. We chose this for the property. We developed the property, we put new housing on it. And we just got hit with our assessment by Bear County. And yes, it is shocking. We will be protesting it. So I understand that there will be this delay in you guys getting the tax rolls. As a new resident, I have no problem paying taxes. I would like to see improvements here. I would actually like to see new commercial business here. So as you guys consider, I've noted some things. There is crime. There are more sex offenders moving in and out of the area. Yes, the roads need something, but I knew what I was getting into when I moved here. So focus if we can. You're going to need someone to administer. I also work for the military, so I get it, sir. You're going to have a budget for that. I appreciate that. You can't make things happen without money, but if we can also somehow attract commercial base, it would help those here who can't afford tax increases. And the area currently behind the Dollar General and the Dollar General, I don't know what you can do to make that appealing for businesses to come in, even restaurants in the local area. It's just something to consider. That's all I ask. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Can I add one more thing about this planning? Is a good idea, but I don't think the P and Z, isn't that what they're supposed to do? I don't think it's gotten off the ground.
It has gotten off the ground, but, it's at a low hover, but we're gaining. We were having issues with not being able to generate a quorum to have meetings. Those commissioners have been replaced. So we're regularly getting a quorum here. We have an ad hoc committee of myself and Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado that are assisting the planning and zoning now. And again, it would be really nice to have that city administrator to assist with it. But yeah, the land currently is zoned by the master plan as commercial, or 2 levels of residential. So it's not a zoning issue that is keeping commercial enterprise away from it. Okay. Basically, it's what's the attraction? And the attraction is we have 5,000 people here that would like to do business with them, but that's not a selling point, because just across the road, there's 8,000 people that would like to do business with somebody. But, we don't have we don't have a Better Business Bureau. We don't have a commission to attempt to attract commercial entities here. So, yeah. I want a Pizza Hut. I want more restaurants. I want a car wash. I would like all the conveniences too, but again, as was mentioned, when I moved here, I knew there was not a sidewalk. I knew there wasn't a street light in front of my house, so I called CPS and said, give me one of those all-night security lights. I knew that the roads weren't 100% when I moved here. And I'm just, there is no sidewalk ferry, and there's no street light ferry. Okay. Sir,
We have one.
Do we have anybody?
we have one more person, sir.
My name is Bobby Montez. I've been here about 7 months. We're talking about raising taxes into an economy that's slowing down. And on top of that, you have the federal government that's about to lower the taxes because the system is, the banking system is in special needs. Do you think you have a percent right now instead of a spread number? Because I think you got a spread number. 0.25 to a bond would be the spread. Do you have a percent to your bond?
Okay. Yeah, and that's a good question. And the answer is
Jay Powell doesn't have it. I hope you have it.
the answer is the valuation of your property, okay, times 0.00021 something is the maintenance and operation.
So that
Tax
would
rate.
be the percent of your bond right now in the market.
No. Okay,
Okay,
uh,
so.
the bond
so
payment,
0.000 is not what you're gonna raise the tax.
no, the bond payment is a separate operation, and I think,
So
it-
where are you
I-
gonna
I
get the
think it's-
percent
I,
from
I
the
think,
raise in tax?
no, that wasn't a percent of raising tax. The bond is we're paying, let's see how many, 4% on the bond?
Mhm.
We're paying 4% on the bond. It's a 15-year bond. 64,000
Annual?
annually, is that it?
Probably a little bit, yeah, but fluctuating.
Yeah, approximately $65,000 annual is the bond payment, including interest. So,
The percent to raise the tax, where do you get that percent from? Or are you waiting?
yeah,
for
I
the
have
federal
not,
government?
nobody has discussed a percentage of raising taxes. We're just discussing,
The idea.
we're discussing the idea of raising taxes.
So the idea of raising taxes in an economy that's going low,
Well, that's part of what the purpose of this is, sir, because with
not a
that,
good idea.
if we're going to discuss the possibility of raising taxes, things like the roads, police department expansion, DPW workers, city administrator, road maintenance plans. Before we can discuss, okay, we think we need to increase it, these are subjects that the citizens want to have addressed. If you're going to increase that money, and this is what I'm hearing tonight, I want these things addressed. Yeah, I've been taking notes while y'all have talked. So this makes sense to us now. We, as your council, have to take all this into consideration later on. This is not happening within the next 30 days by no means. That's why we're having this meeting now. What is this, April? Because this comes up later in the year. I forgot what one.
The tax rate has to be approved by the end of August.
Correct. That's why we're talking about this today. Because this gives us months in advance to
So
lay
if
these
the-
plans in place.
So if the economy goes on a deflation, all this planning is.
You really don't matter if the economy goes into inflation or not, man. If you want to improve the city, then we're gonna have to do this.
No, I can understand that. I just can't understand the base.
Base,
Where
correct, but right now,
you're
you're
gonna
paying 20,
raise a tax into an economy that's going down. That's what I'm saying. It just doesn't make any sense.
Go ahead.
yeah, the current rate right now, just the property tax is 21 cents, at 21 cents. Which I don't think there's a city within 500 miles of here that has a tax rate of 21 cents.
One, sir.
Is there one?
Actually, there's two that are severely, Von Army had a 0%
Okay,
tax
yeah.
rate. But Von Army is located at the intersection of 6104 and Interstate 35. They have a huge commercial, they have a huge commercial base. They collect more in sales tax than we do in property tax. The others,
Rent 35, right?
I believe so, yes, sir.
Yeah.
They do run 35.
the other city that has a much lower tax rate than we do is St. Edward's. And, but they're a small city, in numbers, but they have like 800 square miles of the city. So they're not, their property tax rate is somewhere around 8 cents per 100. Okay. But they're collecting that 8 cents per 100 on 800 square miles. So even with agricultural exemptions, they have a much larger budget than we do. As far as other cities, the cities that are at near our tax roll value all have tremendous commercial bases that their sales tax collections exceed their property tax collections. But I'll be glad to sit down with you and talk about everything about tax rates anytime you want to.
Whatever you want.
I'll give you a card.
Okay.
I'm done. Anybody? I think we can close the town hall meeting.
Before we do, I'd like to say one thing. There was a slide against the police department mentioned in here, and I'm gonna say that, I know who said it, sir. That slight was that our police department's a joke. I'll tell you right now, no, it's not. And I'll tell you what the problem is. We don't have enough officers, flat out.
Mr.
I'm just addressing that one slide.
Alderman Coffin, we're not this arguing, it's elected. We're here, share,
And so we're trying to get more officers. So
I understand, but you're not.
So thank you. We'll talk about it later if you want. But thank you
Fine.
for bringing up your concern.
And
Sorry.
also to address your question on the tax rate adoption, that if it requires an election, the city needs to adopt the tax rate in lieu of August 19th. The budget would have to be filed no later than July 20th, but that is a final deadline where there can be no votes and notices, hearings, just the planning purposes.
July 20.
Is the filing deadline. And in the budget, the mayor includes the tax rate that would support that budget, even if we don't have those surpluses from the tax.
Yeah, and then we add a proposal to the election.
That would be August 19th. Yes, if it would exceed the
August 19th, we have to be by
order of the election.
order the election. Okay.
Did you hear that, Mr. Mayor?
I think so, but well, she's talking about the deadline.
Getting back to what I stated earlier, what are y'all gonna propose?
Okay.
You say you got a deadline here?
July.
That's when you have to have it.
We have to have it before July 20th.
Gotcha.
Good.
All right, so then the time is now 7:24. Town hall is now closed. Thank you for everyone speaking. We appreciate your feedback. All right, moving right along to number 6, consent agenda. All matters listed in the consent agenda are considered routine with the city council and city of St. Phillips and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussion of these items. The discussion is desired, an item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I would like to have the agenda item 6A removed from the consent agenda. For separate discussion?
Okay.
Okay,
Sorry, go ahead.
no, we don't vote on that. Anybody else, it just gets removed. The minutes as presented, agenda item 7A and B. There's an editorial issue, updates and announcements from Chief Lopez, and the minutes state Chief Castillo has no update currently. I would like to have that amended to Chief Castillo, Chief Lopez has no updates currently.
I think it would be perfect if it's cheaper.
Oh, sorry.
But I mean, the person.
Well, I don't even think Castillo is.
No one gave a report.
No one gave a report.
There was no report. Yeah.
Okay. And agenda item 7B should state that Chief Lopez will update at next council meeting set for April 25th, 2024. If those amendments can be made, I would move that we accept the regular meeting minutes for April 11th, 2024, after if they would be amended as stated.
That was a motion.
Another motion?
That is a motion.
Okay, I'll second it. So,
All right, so I have a motion from Alderman Fillinger to amend item 7A and 7B to reflect Chief Lopez instead of Chief Castillo. And I have and to accept it as then presented after the corrections. And I do have a second from Alderman Rapino. That's not correct.
That is correct.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? You just confirm, Madam Secretary, that we do have an approval. I just can't see, so.
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
it's approved.
Thank you. All right, moving right along then to the investment report 7A. Received brief from Alderman Rapino on quarterly investment with possible discussion and or action. Alderman Rapino, you have the floor.
Okay, as of, January 1st, our investment of $136,353.01 with tax forward, wrote it out through the second quarter, and the proceeds on that, $36,000, ended ended as of March 31st, 2024 at $138,182.78 for a yield of $1,819.77. That's the report.
Any questions on regarding the investment report? Okay. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Alderman Rapino.
Now, we have a motion to accept it. Okay, I'll make a motion to accept the investment report.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, so I have a motion from Alderman Rapino and a second from Alderman Coffindaffer to accept the investment report as presented. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? I think that passes. All right, moving right along, agenda item 8A, Updates and announcements from Chief Lopez with also discussion and action. Chief, you have the floor.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Just a couple of updates. The PD door, lock key was changed out due to a security breach. Key was placed under the steps, so that has been taken care of. The mayor has been, aware of that. And also another announcement was, we do have a candidate in mind for replacing, we got 2 positions open for a police officer. And, we got an application in and they're going through the background as we speak.
Okay, moving right along, a presentation of monthly report. Chief, you do have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Starting at the top for March 2024, we had 120 court defendants, 248 cases. Moving down, we had 79 traffic stops, 108 citations were issued, 44 warnings were given. Calls for service, we had about 70 calls for service for March. I had 1 report for myself. Corporal Castillo had 23. Officer Maldonado had 46 reports, and our ACO had 6 reports. Moving down, we had 3 arrests, and then assist other county law enforcement was Burke County. We had 2, 1 assist EMS, 1 alarm business, 1 alarm residence. We had 6 calls for animal dogs loose, and then 1 animal turtle snake. I believe that was a snake. 1 assist public, 1 burglary of vehicle, 7 civil matter custody visitations, 2 civil matter keep the peace, 4 civil matter properties, and 2 civil matters. Next page, we had 3 citations issued for junk vehicles, 1 issued for recreational vehicle, and we had 34 citations issued for, I believe, 17 citations were for chicken violations, and the rest were dogs as well. So 34 citations were given. Moving down, disturbance neighborhood report was 1, disturbance noise was 3, disturbance shots heard was 1, 3 disturbance verbals, 3 harassment verbal telephones, 5 information calls, 1 injured sick adults, 2 narcotics laws. Next page, 1 call for reckless driver, 1 recovered vehicle, 1 runaway, 2 suspicious activity noise, 2 suspicious person calls, 2 suspicious vehicle calls, 1 theft ID, 1 threat, 1 traffic violation hazard, 4 welfare checks, and 7 towed vehicles. For the arrests, as you see, we had 2 residents that were arrested. Starting at the top, for unauthorized use of motor vehicle on prohibited substance in a correction facility. 1 was for an assault parole violation, and next one was an assault unlawful restraint as well.
Thank you, Chief, for your presentation. Moving right along. 9B, discussing or possible action on resolution 2024-196 of the City Council of the City of San Diego to approve an interlocal agreement designating the health authority between Bexar County, the City of San Diego, the City of San Antonio, and the City of San Diego, and authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement on behalf of the city. So basically, I was reached out to by Bexar County, basically, or San Antonio rather, is advising us that they were going to renew the extension of the contract for the health authority that they currently have in place, which I believe her name is Dr. Wu. Familiar, she was, I think she was a face on TV during COVID. And essentially, where they're just asking for a renewal. We currently have her as the designated health authority between us right now. And so it's just time. We can choose not to do it, but she still would be the health authority for Bexar County, so which ultimately still.
Well, Mr. Mayor, if we do not, agree with an ILA, with Bexar County or San Antonio, then we have to appoint and maintain a local health authority for for the city of Sandy Hook. That said, I would move that, council adopts ordinance number 2024-196. Okay, is this an ordinance or a? Well, then, okay, then I move that we amend this document by striking ordinance number 2024-196 and inserting resolution number 2024-196.
I'll second.
The motion, sir, is to strike ordinance number 2024-196 and insert resolution number 2024-196.
Isn't that what it says on the consent agenda? I guess that's why.
The document itself, sir, says ordinance, it's the heading.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. All right, so the motion is to strike ordinance number 2024-196 and instead replace it with resolution 2024-196, accepting the resolution for approving an interlocal agreement designating a health authority between Bear County.
Sir, we have to pass the amendment before we can discuss the ordinance or the resolution. You have a second from Mayor Pro Tem
For the amendment.
Alvarado for the amendment.
For the amendment.
So the first motion is just to strike ordinance to resolution, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a motion from Alderman Fillinger and a second from Mayor Pro Tem Alvarado to strike ordinance and insert resolution 2024-196. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, we'll strike that.
Now, I'm almost the same because I actually read the resolution at home and didn't see ordinance at that point. And then I make a motion that we adopt resolution number 2024-196 as amended.
I'll second.
So I have a motion from Alderman Fillinger and a second from Alderman Pino to accept the resolution 2024-196 as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye. I'm opposed.
Okay, still do have pass of this. Well, thank you. All right, next one, agenda item 9B, discussing our possible action on resolution 2024-197, designating a public information coordinator to satisfy the training requirements of Texas Government Code 552-012. Can you brief me on this one? This is to put down as the public information coordinator, is that correct?
Yeah, the new city secretary, identifying her as a public information coordinator that would take the class or the training that everyone else, that the council would be otherwise required to take.
I will make a motion to accept. That resolution number 2024-198.
197.
Yeah. You know, sir.
Yes, 197. Resolution on the city of Sandy, designating public information coordinator. Satisfying the training requirements of the Texas Government Secretary. 552
Is that you, David? Yep. A second, sorry. Okay, so So I have a motion from Alderman, Pino and a second from Alderman Tremblay to accept resolution 2024-197, designating a public information coordinator to satisfy the training requirements. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? All right, so moving right along to agenda item C. Discuss and possible action on a resolution 2024-198, declaring the 2014 Chevy Tahoe as surplus, outright the mayor or designee to execute the sale or disposal of said property. Basically, what we're doing here is the Tahoe is now in our added some service life. It has been stripped of any lighting and equipment. I believe there's still some decals on here. But of course, that would be removed prior to the sale or disposal. Basically, we're just saying, okay, let's go ahead and either sell it or donate it or do something else with it and keep it in our fleet. But it is relatively high mileage and relatively hard mileage. And it can be vehicle, not only our entity, but prior to us. So for this discussion.
Don't we need this vehicle for DPW or something? Won't they have the use for it? Instead of us getting rid of it and having to buy something else later on down the road.
We have 2 trucks for DPW, we have 2 vehicles for animal control. We now have 4 vehicles for police.
Well, regardless, wouldn't it have to go to auction?
We don't have a problem.
Not really, we don't.
I would make a motion to postpone this until we develop the city ordinance about the disposal of surplus property. A couple of reasons. There is no state requirement that we have any policy, ordinance, or anything else. The counties, colleges, and state agencies all have to have a written policy or ordinance. For whatever reason, municipalities don't. But we have disposed of vehicles before with the understanding they were going to a public auction, not associated with the city.
I don't.
Mr. Mayor, what's that, sir?
I think we've sold the vehicle before, if I'm not mistaken, to private sale.
I don't believe
The one
so.
We sold the Expedition, and I believe there was a F-150. We traded in the Expedition, so maybe it's slightly different. But I want to say there was an F-150 way before my time.
There was an F-150 and I believe it went to auction.
No, it's-
No,
it was sold.
to whom?
My husband's on our office. Budget.
Okay, and that's exactly,
Mhm.
that's exactly why I'm concerned. I have no issue with public sale, but it should not be a council member, or an employee to a certain degree of consanguinity or affinity. I myself would prefer a private sale, but we should have some idea of a fair market value, advertise it to the public. After 30 days, if there's no bites after 30 days, then put it out to an auction house not associated with the city. We have to be absolutely transparent in what we do, sir. And I will tell you right now, in public, with other people hearing, I have heard 2 people say, I'm going to buy that truck. and they are people associated with the city. So I move that this be postponed until we develop a policy.
I second that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Doesn't cost anything to keep it in the parking lot.
Yeah, I don't want to make one comment. If you had an opportunity to look at this vehicle, fair market value is probably not what it's going for. It is relatively wrong, but yeah, I agree. I think that's a fair statement too. So hold this for now. I don't think we need a motion, do we? Table it?
No, sir, you can postpone on your own authority.
Let's postpone it then. I know you have a motion, but we'll just postpone it. I don't want it. All right, we're gonna ride along, discuss our possible action on accepting a bid or establishing a not to exceed amount for tree trimming at City Hall. The reason why we brought this up, right, is because one, we are trying to beautify the City Hall for the citizens that they pay for. But also because of the liability of a lot of these dry trees. I think if you live in Sandy Oaks, you're well aware that we have an issue with trees. Especially the younger trees, the more mature trees tend to get the nutrients that they deserve, what they need, but it's the smaller trees that are causing issues. I think there was approximately 20-ish trees that need to be removed. There's a lot more work in this bid. This was just the first bid. But I think it kind of paints a picture of where we're at, and the money that needs to be spent to not only just beautify, but also to protect ourselves, protect our neighbors, reduce liability and risk ultimately. But again, this item's up for action, so up for discussion.
So this is the first bid. Where are the other bids at? So
Like I said, it's the first bid, so there is no other bid. I mean, I think you can get that from what I said.
Well, this is not actually a bid job, it's a quote job. You call it the N3 landscapers or arborists that have liability insurance and request a quote. I can do that and bring it back to council in our next business meeting.
would you please, sir, because one bid, one offer, I don't see us going with this.
Yeah, that's why it was an NTE as well, right? I realize we're not gonna accept, but we just got it, I think, last Friday, so it was too late to really get more in time.
Again, let's go from this. I'll have 3 quotes for the next meeting.
10-4, then we will table this one.
Those phones, sir, we don't take one.
All right, moving right along, discussing our possible action on amending the employee personnel policy manual to add in a sexual harassment policy. In reviewing our employee personnel manual, I did notice that this is a subject that we don't have in place. And I mean, I think we work in a big enough department, whether big or small, where this should be discussed. It should be something that has to be at the forefront. To not only protect our employees, but also to protect the city and reduce its liability. Now, a personnel policy in itself won't necessarily protect us 100%, but it does say that we did our due diligence and we've done everything that we can to put our people with the most amount of knowledge as possible and to give them the knowledge to make the right decisions in their day-to-day operations. So for discussion.
Sir, we did not receive this in emails. I'd like to postpone this till our next business meeting because it's a very small type and multiple pages. We're not prepared to vote, and I'm not prepared to sit here and argue with it for however long it takes to go through all this.
Was there supporting document to that?
Okay.
Oh.
Mr. Mayor, what it's coming down to is that we haven't had a chance to read the proposal of what's going to be added. We are in agreement that this does need to be added, but it's the wording that we all want to go through.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Okay.
That's all it is.
We can. Okay.
Definitely
That's
needs
fine.
to be, some policy needs to be in there for sure.
Because we definitely need this policy added.
Well, I don't know. Well, that's fine. We can postpone this one.
So, E and F. E and F.
No.
This one.
No, let's talk about that before we decide to postpone that as well. So we'll postpone E for agenda item F, discussing or possible action of training software, in-person training for sexual harassment policy. I think we can still action this whether we have a policy or not. I know I believe the request was to have something in person based off a bid, I guess I received, to do something in person as they're not local. There's about the tune of about $4,000. That is all expenses included. Their travel to and from the site, any hotels or accommodations, because we don't have an HR representative that can actually instruct this. I don't feel like myself or anybody on the council or anybody like that would do this service justice. If we said, okay, well, here's the materials, present the class, I feel like that would not be the most appropriate decision. We do have the alternative of providing a class. Each person will be responsible to do it. It would be paid on the clock. I have participated in this training session. It's not difficult, but you do have to focus on it. You cannot click away, otherwise the video stops. For that type of service, for just the online certification, you're looking at about $250 for everybody, and all included between 10 to 15. Between 10 to 15 employees. So relatively cheaper, perhaps not as effective if you want to consider.
I would like to address that, Mr. Mayor. Online training is more effective because if you put me in a room with a bunch of other people and that guy stands up there for an hour hammering things at me, at the end of the meeting, I'm almost asleep. And when he says, do you have any questions? I'm praying, please God, don't let anybody have any questions. Let me out of here. Now, my experience,
It is not an hour, it is an all-day course.
yes, I know. But my experience, and again, I spent 20 years as a contractor for the United States Navy. All right. I worked all over the world. I took crews all over the world to work on Navy ships. So we were mandated to attend sexual harassment training annually. But when you're doing it online, if you don't pay attention when the questions come up, because in person, you get an attendance certificate. Online, you get a did you learn anything certificate. And I believe any military members here will tell you they've had some of that same online training. And generally speaking, it is more effective than in-person training.
Mr. Mayor, I'd have to agree with Alderman Bellinger. Plus, it'd be more cost effective if we did it online. For every 10 to 15 people, we're talking $250. 15 to 20 people, 4,000 for in person.
Yep.
I think to save money for the city, we'd be better off doing this online.
And
it would also allow us to have any and all aldermen, mayor, and future people sitting at this table to be able to take this class as well.
I would like to make a different recommendation in line with what you do.
Please continue, sir.
But I think the alderman, mayor, and department head should all train, have an online managers course.
Mm-hmm.
And all line employees who could have the employee course.
Can you look into that manager's course for us, Mr. Mayor?
Well,
There's not a manager's course.
not with this company. Other companies do offer it, and we can do everybody for less than $300, and everybody will get certifications sent to the city as soon as they complete their training.
That motion.
No, it's a discussion, sir. Because I don't have the information available to me right here to make a motion.
It's how to deal with the situations when they're. Oh, bless your heart, over in, you know, I like them. You know, that's gonna be in minutes now. God bless. So,
That's fine.
Mr. Mayor, I think we're gonna postpone this till next meeting, so that way we can actually have the rest of the information that Alderman Pellinger is talking about.
Well, we can do the one.
What was the motion? I'm sorry.
The postpone.
Okay, so then we.
Our next meeting.
Does anybody disagree? All right, so we will go ahead and postpone G in alignment with postpone F. All right, moving right along. Let's see here. All right, executive session. We're gonna do G, H, and I. So let me read the first one for H, executive session to deliberate the employment duties, discipline, or dismissal of police department chief Lopez pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071. Consultation with attorney on matters in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly requires discussion in closed section. The next item, discussing or possible action on the employment duties and related matter of employee for police department.
Sir, you started with, agenda item G, but you read agenda item H.
Okay, sorry about that. So let me start over.
Okay, before you start,
Item G,
Hold on,
executive
please.
session.
sir,
Okay.
before you start, I'm going to move to table agenda item G, as we do not have a person here to discuss, the appointment of. And that is a motion, sir, that we table it.
We don't have what in?
Executive session to deliberate the appointment, employment duties, and related matters of an employee for police department. We do not have a candidate available to.
Yeah, that's. I'll explain this. So I need to share with you information regarding the candidate that the chief is discussing. Right, so that's what this is for.
Sir, he hasn't cleared his background.
We were told tonight his background hasn't been cleared yet, sir. We're still waiting on that to finish.
Exactly, and so this has nothing to do with the background.
Well, how can we discuss it then?
This is related to other personnel issues with that employee that I have to bring up to the table.
Okay, sir.
So again, let's start with G,
But
executive session.
if we go into an executive session, sir, we have to have a public session to discuss and or possible action on the appointment, employment duties, and related matter of employee for the police department.
Isn't that what I is?
There's no action.
That's what I is. G is to I, H is to.
Okay, so we'll just come back with an aye with a no action.
That's fine.
Okay,
All right. I'm in.
go right ahead.
G, executive session to deliberate the employment duties and related matters of employee for police department pursuant to Texas Government Code, section 551.074, personnel matters. H, executive session to deliberate the employment duty, discipline, or dismissal of police department chief Lopez pursuant to Texas Government Code, section 551.071. consultations with the attorney on matters in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the state bar of Texas clearly requires discussion in closed session. And then so DNA church discussed, it's now 8 o'clock, we are in executive session.
Point of personal privilege, sir. I want a 10-minute recess before we reset into that executive session.
You hear that?
You hear that, Mr. Mayor? Yeah, you doesn't agree with it, but it's a point of
Okay,
service
so
for
the
the record.
executive recess is now 8 o'clock. Session at 6:11.
8:11.
You must be on.
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Michael. Sorry.
I cannot hear you.
You can't hear us? If there's an. Oh, no. No.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
Okay. We're ready?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, we're recording.
All right, time is now 10:08. We are back in the open session. Agenda item I, discuss under possible action on appointment, employment duties and related matters of employee for police department.
I believe we want to take more.
Then we will take no action on this item. Because that doesn't even vote for it.
No, sir, no vote, just no action taken.
Okay, perfect. Our-
Yeah, you read the I, right? You read it.
I discussed-
Yeah.
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 Yeah. All right, and then moving on to agenda item J, discuss under possible action on the employment duties, discipline, or dismissal of police department chief Billy Mills.
Just address that. I believe I'm supposed to read the resolution 2024-199. We need a motion to read the resolution. No? Just read it. You can read it. We'll need a motion after.
Yes.
Okay. City of Sunny Oaks, Texas, resolution 2024-199. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Sunny Oaks, Texas, declaring lack of confidence in the chief of police pursuant to local government code section 22.077B. Whereas the City of Sunny Oaks, Texas is a type A general law municipality incorporated and organized under the laws of the state of Texas, and whereas the City Council adopted ordinance number 2021-180 establishing the position of the chief of police as an officer of the city, and whereas Felipe R. Lopez was appointed as chief of police May 27, 2021 by resolution number 2021-133, which was effective on May 28, 2021, and whereas ordinance number 2021-180 provides that the chief of police may be removed by the city council pursuant to section 22-.077 of the local government code, and whereas section 22.077B of the local government code provides the governing body of a type A general law municipality may remove a municipal officer at any time if the governing body lacks confidence in a municipal officer appointed by the governing body, provided that 2/3 of the elected aldermen vote in favor of a resolution declaring the lack of confidence, and whereas the city council desires to remove the chief of police declaring lack of confidence in the chief of police pursuant to section 22.077B of the local government code. Now, therefore be it resolved by the city council of the city of Sandy Oaks, Texas, that section 1 Findings Incorporated. The city council finds that the statements made in the preamble above are true and correct and incorporates them into the body of this resolution as if fully stated herein. Section 2, declaration of lack of confidence. The city council hereby declares a lack of confidence in the chief of police with 4 of the aldermen voting in favor of this resolution. Section 3, removal of chief of police. The city council hereby removes Felipe R. Lopez as chief of police pursuant to local government code section 22.077B. Section 4, severability. If for any reason any part of this resolution is invalidated by a court of competent jurisdiction, the remaining portions of this resolution shall remain in effect. Section 5, effective date. This resolution shall take effect immediately and after the passage and approval of this resolution, passed and approved on this 25th day of April 2024. I need a motion.
I move that we adopt resolution 2024-199.
I'll second the motion.
I do have a motion from Alderman Billinger to accept resolution 2024-199 and a second by Alderman Tremblay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? If I'm not mistaken, I believe that passes unanimously. And it is effective immediately.
Sir, I'll make another motion.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Felipe, would you surrender your city issued gear that you have on your person, including these? If you'll surrender to the table, sir, do you need to go to your office to gather any personal belongings?
Yes, sir.
Will it take more than one trip to your car?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please surrender your items and,
Sorry, before that happens, can I make a comment?
no, sir.
Okay.
I'm sorry, sir, but according to state law, you cannot interrupt a legislative body.
This is my duty weapon. It's my personal.
Yes, sir, I'm aware of that. All right. I was asking.
No,
But
I'm just concerned that it'll take more than time. Does he have time afterwards, or do we just do it all tonight?
Do it all tonight.
do it all tonight, ma'am, because we can't ask him to come back
Okay,
on his time.
okay.
So. I will escort him to his office.
Okay.
Then we'll from there. So. With no further items, Tim? You have made a motion all night, so I'll make a motion for item 10.
Very adjourned.
We are good.
It is now 10:16. We are adjourned. Thank you.